Hey friends, how's it going? The movie opens with a woman named Ellie who appears to be possessed. She lies on her bed screaming, desperately begging her mother to forgive her. The story then jumps back 4 days earlier. At this point, Ellie is completely normal and is packing her things to visit her childhood home. Her husband, Jacob, walks in to see if she's ready and asks if she wants him to come along. Ellie politely refuses, but admits she's a little sad about leaving without seeing their daughter, who is still at school. Jacob reassures her that everything will be fine, and before she leaves, he reminds her to stay safe. On the way, Ellie stops at a cemetery to visit the grave of her late mother, Stephanie. Standing there, she remembers a painful childhood moment when her mother ignored her during a school play, making it clear that the two never had a good relationship. Looking at the grave, Ellie says she would never treat her own daughter the way her mother treated her. She then gets back in the car and continues her journey. A little later, Ellie arrives at her childhood home, where she is greeted by a man named John. He explains that he works for Stuart, her realtor. Ellie is planning to sell the house, but since Stuart is unavailable, he sent John to handle the paperwork instead. As they go through the documents, Ellie notices that a few of them are missing. John assures her that he'll let Stuart know as soon as he gets back to the office, and then he leaves. Once she's alone, Ellie walks into her old bedroom. The room brings back memories of another argument she had with her mother years ago. She then tries to turn on the lights, but nothing happens. Realizing the power isn't working, she calls the electricity company. Ellie calls the electricity company to report that the power to the house has been cut, even though it wasn't supposed to be disconnected for another 2 days. However, the company tells her that the electricity is still active. A moment later, she notices that the front door is standing open. Confused, she steps back inside and tries the lights again. This time, they work. Unaware of it, something appears to be watching her from the shadows. Later, Ellie calls Jacob and gets a chance to speak with their daughter, Samantha. She tells Samantha that Jacob will have to take her to school until she comes back. After their warm conversation ends, a cabinet door suddenly swings open on its own, startling Ellie. As she closes it, the attic door unexpectedly creaks open. Curious, Ellie decides to check it out. She climbs into the attic and finds a dead rat, along with an old wooden box sealed with candle wax. Thinking it may have belonged to her mother, she calls Jacob and tells him about it. Jacob jokingly asks if the box is full of money, but Ellie says she has no idea what's inside. Wanting answers, she calls her Uncle Rick, but he doesn't recognize the box either. Their conversation ends awkwardly, and a few moments later, the box suddenly slides off the table and crashes onto the floor. As Ellie picks it up and tries to carry it out of the room, she notices a nearby lamp begin to flicker. As soon as Ellie puts the box back down, the lamp stops flickering. Just then, someone knocks on the front door. It's Teresa, one of Stephanie's closest friends. After noticing Ellie's car outside, she decided to stop by and say hello. Teresa asks why Ellie didn't attend her mother's funeral, and Ellie explains that she was busy at the time. Ellie then asks if she knows anything about the old wooden box. Teresa says she does, because Stephanie had told her about it. She explains that the box originally belonged to Stephanie's mother and had been passed down through the family for generations. According to family tradition, each generation placed something valuable inside the box, although Teresa doesn't know what Stephanie put in it. When Ellie asks why her mother never mentioned the box to her, Teresa suggests it was probably because of their strained relationship. She also warns Ellie that the box was never meant to be opened. It was only supposed to be opened to place something inside, and nothing was ever meant to be taken out. After sharing what she knows, Teresa leaves, leaving Ellie alone with the mysterious box. That night, Ellie calls Jacob and tells him everything Teresa said. Curious, Jacob wonders what could be inside the box. Ellie asks if she should open it, but Jacob isn't sure, especially after hearing Teresa's warning. Later that night, Ellie can't fall asleep. The heavy rain outside keeps her awake, and her curiosity about the box only grows stronger. After hesitating for a while, she finally scrapes off the candle wax seal and opens it. Inside, she finds a piece of paper with Hebrew writing on it, a strand of hair, and a dried rose. The contents leave her disappointed and confused. Just then, the bathroom door suddenly slams shut on its own. As Ellie goes to check it out, she hears strange noises coming from the living room. When she walks in, she's shocked to see that the box is closed again, and all the items she had taken out are somehow back inside exactly where they were before. Shaken by what she just witnessed, Ellie immediately calls Jacob. She admits that she opened the box and tells him what she found inside. Along with the strange things that happened afterward, Jacob, however, refuses to believe anything supernatural is going on. He brushes it off and tells Ellie to get some sleep, which only leaves her even more frustrated. Determined to find some answers, Ellie searches online for information about the old wooden box, but she doesn't find anything useful. She then looks up the Hebrew words written on the piece of paper and discovers that they translate to release in English. As the night goes on, the strange events become even more disturbing. The lights start flickering over and over again, while a low, groaning voice echoes through the house. Around the same time, Ellie receives a call from her daughter, Samantha. At first, Samantha sounds normal, but then she starts saying things that leave Ellie deeply unsettled. She tells her mother that she's inside the house with her and asks Ellie to come find her. Moments later, Samantha's voice suddenly changes into a terrifying demonic growl. Frightened, Ellie rushes into the living room where she spots a dark figure standing in the hallway. It suddenly charges at her, causing Ellie to wake up in a panic. She realizes it was all just a nightmare. The next day, Ellie receives a call from a psychic named Disha. Disha tells her that someone informed her about the mysterious box Ellie found. She explains that it's called a debug box and confirms that the Hebrew words on the paper mean to release, the same translation Ellie found online. The confirmation leaves Ellie shocked. Back at home, Samantha is seen drawing the debug box along with a strange figure. When Jacob asks about the drawing, Samantha calmly tells him that the figure lives inside the box. Meanwhile, Disha arrives at Ellie's childhood home and explains more about the debug box. She says that a debug is a demon that attaches itself to the living. According to ancient folklore, evil souls were trapped inside these boxes. To keep them imprisoned and prevent them from possessing anyone, candles were lit over the box and a seance was performed. Disha warns Ellie that by opening the box, she has allowed the demon to attach itself to her. She explains that it will slowly feed on her until she dies, then move on to its next victim. She also tells Ellie not to go anywhere near her family, because the spirit can easily possess children. Desperate for a solution, Ellie asks if the demon can be sealed back inside the box. Before Disha can answer, she suddenly notices something behind Ellie. Her expression changes instantly, and without another word, she rushes out of the house. A moment later, Ellie's nose suddenly starts bleeding. As she's cleaning the blood in the bathroom, she feels a sharp pain in her mouth. To her horror, one of her teeth falls out. Later, Teresa comes to visit and asks if she can come inside. Once they're seated, she again asks Ellie why she didn't attend her mother's funeral. Ellie gives another excuse, but Teresa can tell something is wrong. Looking at Ellie closely, Teresa realizes that she opened the box, even though Ellie tries to deny it. Teresa tells her that Stephanie always knew she would eventually open it. She then reveals that on the third day, Ellie will become possessed. Confused, Ellie asks what she's talking about. Teresa admits that she lied earlier about the box. It wasn't a family tradition at all. Instead, she reveals that the box was actually a curse left behind by Ellie's mother. Shocked, Ellie asks why her own mother would do something like that. Teresa explains that after Stephanie was diagnosed with kidney failure, Ellie suddenly started visiting her much more often, which Stephanie found suspicious. Since Stephanie's kidneys couldn't properly filter high levels of potassium, Ellie had been secretly putting potassium pills into her drinks. Although Stephanie's death was officially ruled as natural, Teresa believes the real cause was hyperkalemia, brought on by the potassium pills. Before leaving, Teresa quietly tells Ellie that she won't be alive much longer. Unable to take it anymore, Ellie orders Teresa to leave. Before walking out, Teresa gives her one final warning. She has only 3 days left to live. As soon as Teresa is gone, Ellie breaks down in tears. Overwhelmed with guilt and frustration, she takes the debug box outside and throws it into a trash can. Later that day, while drinking a bottle of whiskey, Ellie gets a notification that her phone is running low on storage. As she goes through her files, she comes across several videos she doesn't remember recording. In the recordings, she notices a strange figure in the background and even sees herself acting strangely. The footage leaves her confused because she's certain she never filmed any of it. Thinking the alcohol is messing with her head, Ellie brushes it off. She throws away the whiskey bottle and decides to pull herself together. A little later, she hears strange noises coming from the attic. She goes up to investigate, but there's nothing there. Meanwhile, John arrives with the remaining paperwork. He knocks on the door several times, but Ellie never answers, so he eventually leaves. After calming herself down, Ellie calls Jacob and tells him everything. She explains that opening the dieback box has unleashed a curse on her. Then she makes an even more shocking confession. She admits that she killed her own mother. The confession leaves Jacob speechless. Afraid he'll see her as a terrible person, Ellie begs him not to judge her and promises that she'll find a way to fix the mess she's created. After the call, Ellie starts researching the dieback box online. She learns that, in Jewish folklore, a dieback is a malevolent spirit believed to possess the body of a living person. Just then, she hears a noise. When she looks toward the hallway, she sees the attic door slowly opening on its own. She cautiously goes to investigate. To her horror, a terrifying figure appears in the attic and starts moving toward her. Panicked, Ellie runs back to her bedroom. Thinking the figure is gone, she opens the door, only for it to suddenly grab her from behind. Ellie jolts awake and realizes it was just another nightmare. But her relief quickly disappears when she notices something impossible. The dieback box she threw into the trash is somehow back inside the house. The next morning marks the second day. Ellie suddenly starts coughing up blood. As if that isn't horrifying enough, she pulls a long strand of hair out of her mouth. A few moments later, she catches another glimpse of the demonic figure. Terrified, she locks herself inside the bathroom. The doorknob begins shaking violently as something tries to force its way in. Ellie begs the entity to leave her alone. After a few tense moments, the shaking finally stops. Not long after, someone knocks at the front door. It's John, who has returned with the remaining documents for Ellie to sign. As she's signing them, she suddenly imagines herself threatening to rip out John's eyeballs. In the hallucination, she actually does it. Horrified by what she imagined, Ellie immediately tells John to leave. Completely confused by her behavior, John doesn't argue and leaves right away. That night, Ellie is in the kitchen drinking a glass of water when something suddenly startles her. She drops the glass, and it shatters across the floor. A moment later, she notices the pool lights flickering. Curious, she goes outside to check, but is horrified to see the demonic figure slowly emerging from the pool. Frightened, Ellie runs back inside and accidentally steps on a broken piece of glass, cutting her foot. As she removes the shard, she's shocked to pull a long strand of hair out of the wound as well. When she looks back toward the pool, the figure is gone. Later that night, while Ellie is asleep, the demonic figure crawls out of the closet and slowly moves toward her bed. She suddenly wakes up, realizing it was just another nightmare. However, when she walks into the living room, she sees the same figure sitting on the couch. This time, it disappears a moment later. Soon after, Ellie hears strange noises coming from the pool area. She goes outside to check again, but doesn't find anything unusual. Later, she lights a candle and places it on top of the dieback box while praying for the demon to leave her alone. Once she's done praying, she throws the box into the fireplace. Almost immediately, something happens. In the middle of the night, Ellie wakes up seemingly possessed, just like in the opening scene of the movie. She screams and begs her mother to forgive her. A moment later, she wakes up again, revealing it was just another nightmare. On the third day, Ellie appears completely normal. When she checks the dieback box, she finds that it's sealed once again. Believing the curse is finally over, she calls Jacob and tells him that she has made peace with her mother's spirit and will be coming home soon. Ellie then drives back home, where Jacob warmly welcomes her despite everything she confessed about her mother's death. She then goes to Samantha's room, where the two share a warm hug. Ellie then notices that Samantha has drawn the dieback box, along with the mysterious figure. Curious, Ellie asks what she's drawing. Samantha quietly tells her that the box belongs to Ellie and that the figure lives inside it. When Ellie asks who the figure is, Samantha quietly replies that it's her mother. Ellie then realizes the entity has followed her home, and that's where the movie ends. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.